not a numbers person. He doesn't remember the years like Mr. Berg, or how many times they won a contest. So we dug through some old yearbooks and reached back into our memory banks and put together a few highlights and happenings of the last 33 years.
Let's start at the beginning of the Shickley FFA chapter. It began in 1978 under the first ag instructor advisor, Michael Jacobson, and some of you probably remember him. He was here for 3 years. Doug Straight followed in June of 1980 and has been at Shickley for 33 years. We are not sure if the next instructor will stay that long, but we hope so. I was on the Shickley Board of Education, I'm telling my age, along with Gene Dollinger, Bill Hunt, Larry Paul, Wayne Kemp, and Cecil Kennel when we hired Doug to be our instructor. We were not aware at the time, but I was told from some family members that he said, well, he'd try it for 1 year and then he'd make a decision. Obviously it went well because he taught for a total of 33 years, 1,188 weeks, 5,940 days, 41,580 hours. For the 33 years Doug was at Shickley, he had a series of FFA pickups provided by the school. He had 5 different superintendents and 7 different principals. He worked at the Fillmore County Fair with 6 different extension educators, 6 different ag ed instructors from Exeter, Geneva, and Fillmore Central. Over the course of 33 years, a total of 1,150 students were members of the Shickley FFA chapter. The average FFA membership has been 34 members. The lowest was back in 1987 when we had 15 members, and the total highest number was 47 in 2005 and 6. The FFA membership was enhanced through the distance learning program and the online coursework that Doug put together for schools as Bruning Davenport, Exeter Milligan, Meridian, Cross County, Elmwood, Murdoch, Meade Valley, and Conestoga. Due to the interest in agriculture education that Mr. Straight generated, a few of those school districts today have gone ahead and chartered and become their own FFA chapter. Just as a side note, I'd like to have these superintendents and principals that were here and ag instructors that have worked with him. Please stand just for a moment.
It was in 1984, the year I came to Shickley, that the FFA began their involvement in the concession stand. I guess after I got here, there was nothing else to do on Friday and Saturday nights but run a concession stand. So for 29 years, the FFA has been manning the concession stand. And believe me, that's a lot of hot dogs and popcorn. As we would go other places, we would always try the popcorn and rate to see how it compared to the popcorn made at Shickley, because Doug always wanted to have the best popcorn. Doug will also tell you that the secret to that great popcorn is in the oil, and you don't want to know what's in that oil, but it tastes good. Over the years, the Shickley concession stand was very well known for the food served. It began with Fairbury hot dogs, and then went to Shickley's famous Dogs. The referees and officials all knew about Shickley and requested Dogs, so after the game, we always made sure there were some left for them. Long before the First Lady's Healthy Kids Kick, the Shickley concession stand tried some healthy options. There were chicken sandwiches and fresh vegetables with ranch dip. The chicken sandwiches are still around, but the fresh vegetables have been replaced with deep fat fried food like mozzarella sticks, cheese balls, and chicken nuggets. I guess when you come to a ball game, you're really not worried about eating healthy. Hamburgers were added to the menu along with some other food creations from both Doug and the kids, like nacho cheese for your popcorn, coffee mixed with hot chocolate for a cappuccino, and the latest, and I hope I get this right, John Alfs, is a deep fat fried hot dog with nacho meat topped with nacho cheese topped with 4 cheese balls. Some games were extremely... It tasted good. Some games were extremely busy, as I've stirred a lot of hot chocolate over the years, and we sold out 2 complete coolers of pop. Thank goodness that was after the switch from fountain pop to bottles. Throughout the years of working the concession stand, the FFA kids will attest that we never worked for the kids, unless they were playing in the band. We were always working with them and alongside them, and we could not have done it without the support of the FFA alumni.
A little bit about the FFA alumni. It was chartered in 1981 and 82 with 36 members. The alumni was started to be a support group for the FFA chapter and our advisor. Our main goal was to furnish funds for their activities when they needed help. Our first money-raising activity was a hunter's barbecue meal on opening day of hunting season, which proved to be very successful, and I'm sure some of you remember that, some of you old-timers. Then we went on to trying other things. We did a barbecue meal during the basketball season. Today, we now have our article auction, which we've had for several years now, and it has been very successful for several years, and we sincerely appreciate all of you because it's your support that has made this endeavor be so successful. Other activities included for the FFA alumni, we provide animals for the students to practice judging before contests, helping them with speeches and Parley Pro practice before district and state contests. We have had several members of alumni that give of their time to judge both different speech and Parley Pro contests at both the district and state level each year. Monies that we raise are used to pay for students to attend several leadership seminars around the state and camps in the summertime and state and national conventions. We now provide scholarships for graduating seniors that are going into the agricultural field in college. Today we have over 50 members, and our alumni council is made up of 7 people. We would like to have the FFA alum members at this time. Please stand and be recognized. Please, all alumni members. Quick line.
The Shickley FFA, along with most FFA chapters, are known for their annual fruit sales, where the shop needs to stay cool for the fruit with long days of sorting to get all the fruit delivered. The FFA birthday and community calendar started in 1987 and has been in production for over 25 years. FFA Week happenings have continued for 33 years and included things like the coloring contest, the annual breakfast for over 14 plus years, and the tractor parade, which started in 09-10 after both Conley and Cody had graduated, much to their dislike. The Shickley FFA have participated in the Earth Day Jamboree, the Ag Adventure Day, Safety Day Camp for 5 years, and have served farmers during harvest through KUTT's Harvest Bonanza for at least 4 years. Some of you may also remember that in 2007 and 8, the Shickley FFA hosted a Wyoming FFA chapter that was on their way to National Convention.
A strong component of the Shickley FFA chapter is community service, and the members have provided thousands of hours for the betterment of the Shickley community. The FFA chapter has been responsible for building parks like the Longhorn Corral, updating playground equipment at the parks and at school, constructing the sand volleyball court and the walking bridge, installing a bike rack at the library and lockers, and just recently in the fire hall. The Shickley FFA members have improved the town by putting up street signs, house numbers, trash cans, painting fire hydrants, and street curbs. The Shickley FFA chapter has also painted the swimming pool at least 4 times that we could think of, improved the Fillmore County Fairgrounds at least 3 times, and spent a few years constructing the plastic fence around the school parking lot. The Shickley FFA has helped with the Bloodmobile for the last 11 years and has conducted a coat, boot, and food drive for 5 years, and for the numerous years they did roadside cleanup along Highway 74.
As community service projects were stable over 33 years, there were a number of changes that occurred with the FFA. In 1980, when Doug started, the organization was known as the Future Farmers of America. However, the name was changed in 1988 to the National FFA Organization. In around 1998-99, 8th graders were able to join the FFA. The state fair was moved from Lincoln to Grand Island, National FFA Convention moved away from Kansas City, and State FFA Convention moved from the Continuing Education Center on East Campus to the Cornhusker Hotel in downtown Lincoln. For the last 33 years, National FFA Convention was in Kansas City for 19 years, Louisville for 7, and Indianapolis for 7 years, with an average of 8 to 9 FFA members attending each year. The transportation for National Convention changed over the years, as it went from driving the school van to riding a bus for 16 hours with Mr. Woodstruck or Woody as Doug's seatmate. I was briefly at only 2 National FFA conventions, one in Kansas City where the group went to a Chiefs football game after convention, and one in Indianapolis where Conley received his award. There aren't too many memories that I have, but there are some memorable National Convention events. It included driving home from Kansas City in a 15-passenger van on a sheet of ice with some frantic FFA members. There was a deer hitting the door of the bus, and then there was Cody, known as our National Convention baby, who was born as members were leaving to go to Kansas City. And if you want the rest of that story, you can talk to Howard and Deanna Johnson.
Other leadership events that the Shickley FFA members attended were FFA Leadership Camp in Aurora, National Washington Conference in Washington, D.C., Co-op Leadership Camp in Kansas City, Impact Workshops, and Advanced Leadership Development.
The county fair was a part of the Shickley FFA chapter for every one of the past 33 years. Activities at the fair included helping with 3-wheeler races, setting up the safety booth, and of course showing livestock. In 1999-2000, a record high of 17 kids showed livestock at the Fillmore County Fair. After a number of years, Mr. Straight got smart and brought an air-conditioned camper to the fair that served as the FFA office. Doug never missed a county fair, though there was one year he was sick right before the fair, and we worked in the county fair after Conley was born and before his first heart surgery, so he was always known as our county fair kid. The Shickley FFA chapter had students showing livestock at the state fair for 29 of the 33 years. In 1998 and 99, there were 21 kids showing livestock at the state fair. And that might have been the year it took a semi to bring in all the hogs.
Attendance at state convention was an annual event for the Shickley FFA chapter for all of the past 33 years. Quite a few years back, there was a state FFA band. For 2 years, Shickley had 3 students selected for participation. For at least 11 years, we had 8 years, we had 11 different Shickley FFA members who were selected for the state FFA chorus. In 2008 and 9, a record 6 members from the Shickley FFA were selected for the FFA chorus. The number of students attending state convention varied over the years. However, in 1977 and 98, there were 19 students who went on to state convention. That large number of students required sponsors in addition to Doug Janice. So Howard and Deanna Johnson volunteered, and somehow they just seemed to be volunteering every year, whether they wanted to or not. And so they ended up being sponsored for state convention for several years. There were also quite a number of FFA alumni members who came to convention to judge contests. There was a tradition at contest, in Lincoln at the convention, that Doug would always take everybody out to eat at Tico's prior to the state FFA degree ceremony. And then one memorable moment when a tornado warning took place and everyone was told to go to the continuing education building on the East Campus, and we were all there. Where was Doug? We could not find him. Of course, he was outside looking for the tornado.
The junior high students participated in the Quiz Bowl at state convention, and Bart Brinkman spent many years transporting the junior high kids to Lincoln for this event. For a number of years, the Shickley FFA chapter had livestock judging teams and welding teams participating in competitions. The welding students did quite well from 1986 to 1988, as they acquired 4 first places in welding teams and individuals for those 3 consecutive years. At this time, if there are any students here that were a part of any livestock judging or welding team competition, please stand and be recognized.
Contests at state FFA convention were a large part of the Shickley FFA chapter. The state FFA contests are unlike other athletic contests where schools are separated into classes A, B, C, D, and so forth. The FFA chapters compete all schools, regardless of size, so receiving a gold or first place medal is quite an accomplishment. The Shickley FFA chapter was most noted for their parliamentary procedure teams that excelled at the district and state levels. The junior parliamentary procedure teams earned 7 gold medals out of 10 appearances at the state and received 6 consecutive gold medals from 1989 to 1996. The Shickley senior party pro teams earned 8 gold medals out of 11 appearances and were first in the state for 3 consecutive years from 1994 to 1997. If there are any members of those junior and senior parliamentary procedures tonight, we'd like to have you stand and be recognized also. There are a lot of them there. I don't know if there's any 2 here tonight, so stand up. There you go. You're back. As your parents could know, that took a lot of time and many, many hours working with the FFA alumni members and Mr. Strait preparing themselves for convention. Other contests at the state brought awards to the Shickley FFA chapter. The employment skills contest had a perfect 4 for 4 as 4 individuals. Michaela Kemp, Ashley G., Amanda Johnson, and Mindy Zuhal earned their way to the state and all brought home gold medals. Natural resources speaking also had a perfect 3 for 3 at the state. Those individuals are Chris Schwarzenegger, Katie Sissel, Conley Strait. They all earned their way to the state and brought home gold medals. And I know those 3 people are here. Would they please stand up? Chris, Katie, and Conley.
Proficiency Awards brought state and national recognition to the Shickley FFA chapter as 5 individuals won state and 1 individual was a national finalist. The state winners were Angie Paul, Mary Hendrickson, Merle Glather Jr., and Craig Flothman, and the national finalist was Conley Strait. In the last 33 years, the Shickley FFA chapter has had 3 State Star finalists. Merle Glather Jr. was the South Central Area Star Agribusinessman in 1989-90. Chad Carlson was the State Star Agribusiness finalist in 94-95, and Conley Strait was the State Star finalist in placement in 06-07. The Shickley FFA chapter has had 1 state officer, as Katie Sissel was Nebraska FFA State Secretary in 98-99. These last 3 individuals are all here tonight, and so if Chad and Conley and Katie would all please stand, we'd like to recognize them. Over the last 33 years, 55 Shickley FFA members have received their state FFA degrees, with a record high of 11 members receiving their state degrees in 1995. And the following 12 members have received the highest degree, their American FFA degree. So I want these people to stand and be recognized as I read your name. Merle Glather Jr., Craig Flothman, Danny Miller, Scott Schlegel, Chris Schwarzenegger, Katie Sissel, Angie Johnson, Brian Slingsby, Conley Strait, Brett Sheffield, Cody Strait, and Tyler Lowenstein. The kids who have passed through the doors of Mr. Strait's Ag Ed classroom and were involved in FFA have some memorable moments that I'm sure all of you could share. But here's just a few of the things that Mr. Strait was famous for saying or doing. The first one was drinking Diet Pepsi, which has now moved to water. He was pretty adamant about not popping your gum in class, not leaning back in the chairs, not sitting on the tables. And it doesn't matter if you're a wife or a superintendent, you don't sit on the tables. Some of his famous sayings were, "What do you think I am, Walmart?" And his most famous is, "Don't drive the boat." We attempted tonight to have students from every class attend. That goal wasn't met. However, we want every Shickley FFA member, present or past, to please stand, and we thank you for being here tonight. course of 33 years, Doug has had the honor and pleasure of having developed relationships with other Ag Ed instructors across the state and elsewhere. The networks were built through district meetings, serving on boards, attending summer conference and state and national conventions. Some of these fellow instructors are no longer with us. However, those Ag Ed instructors and FFA advisors, both past and present, that are here tonight, please stand and be recognized for your support and mentorship.
Doug,
Yes.
thanks for having us here tonight. I know you're a little intimidated by what we might say. And not at all. On behalf of the ag teachers from the old District 8 particularly, we want to congratulate you on 33 wonderful years as an ag education instructor and FFA advisor. And we applaud you. That's first. Now, I'm going to just relate a few things. Doug and I go back a long way. We've been very good friends. And for you that don't know me, I'm Dewey Linneman at Blue Hill, and we ran against Shickley pretty hard those years in Parley Pro and speaking and everything. And what a formidable chapter and advisor. My hat's off to you. I obviously could go hours on the things, and Doug probably is worried I will go hours. But I'm going to touch on a few things that really resonate with me. I think first, probably back to State Fair time. I mentioned State Fair, and I was more of a beef guy, but I had 2 or 3 hog exhibitors. I didn't have time for them, so I knew Doug would have 2 or 3 semis full of hogs there, and the kids would always worry, you're going to get us checked into our thing. I tell you what, you go to the hog barn and you look for the leprechaun, and he'll help you, I guarantee you. And they said, what? I said, you'll figure it out. They got over there, and if some of you remember Mr. Straight and his green jumper, that was a, all right, it was a coverall, but they got the drift, and they always came back to me with a big smile on their face, and thank you, Doug, for that. I also think of District 8 meetings. And we had some very spirited meetings once in a while. And I'll give Mr. Straight credit. He didn't back off of the thing, which was always good, because neither did the rest of us. State Ag Teachers Convention. We drove all over the state at times. And I think in particular, and Kent will remember this as well, Doug had a Grand Prix. Still have.
It's on blocks.
It's on blocks. Pretty proud of that thing, and he agreed to let us go with him in his car. We had to make a stop at a filling station after many Diet Pepsis, and he went in, and there's a big dog, a big friendly dog that came to the door, and Mr. Zeller let him in, and he sat on the front seat looking out the window. Here comes Mr. Straight. He looked at him. Nobody gets in my car. A dog? He was not happy with us for about 3 or 4 days. Twin Valley Exposition. Doug was a stalwart. Some of you may remember that at Hastings. A great time, and Doug was a stalwart part of that group. I got to, and some will know this story, I got the pleasure of going to South Dakota with Doug to get a bull and a ram. And there's a lot to the story, but basically, we drank, 5 or 6 Diet Pepsis, ran out of gas, went to O'Neill, and he just threw the nozzle in, went in the bathroom, and I went in. Well, he come back out just cussing like a sailor. I said, "What? What?" He says, "What happens when you fill a car with diesel fuel?" We watched for about 6 hours as the only facility they had was to pump this, 40 gallons of diesel fuel out was a windshield washer pump. Thump, thump, thump. Now, you that know Mr. Straight knows.
We're making great time.
Well, we did finally get there about 8 hours later, and we thought we'd go look at the bull, and it was raining like you wouldn't believe. We got there. The bull had been separated for several hours. We were a little bit nervous. We put him in the trailer, and he didn't take him long to get in the trailer and make about 10 laps in there. But before I go into that part, the funny part was he had a dog, Buddy, I believe was his name. Buddy expired on our way, got run over or something, and Doug was lamenting the fact, oh, that poor dog. Well, that dumb dog shouldn't have been out on the road anyway. God, I'm going to miss Buddy. Dumb dog. That's all I heard for about 4 hours. Well, he asked, what do you think I should name that bull? I said, Whirling Dervish, because he's just driving that trailer. He said, I think I'm going to name him Buddy. We then went to find the ram. He said, this is going to be the tightest hided ram you've ever seen in your life. It's the best thing in the world. We started backing into this place, and the guy said, no sense backing up. I said, why? Well, we separated the ram. He got nervous or something, got worked up, and he's dead. But he was a really tight-hided ram. You want me to set him up so you can see? And I said, well, not really, but I think he's going to be tighter-hided tomorrow. Doug did not see the humor in that. But that's the kind of relationship I had with Mr. Straight, and that's memorable. I was reminded of state FFA degree interviews, which were usually held in Blue Hill. And I don't know where they got the idea that Doug and I were never there to help. They had this idea we're at the sale barn having breakfast and pie. We were. And Doug, I didn't bring a dictionary for you. Doug always kept me grounded. I have a tendency to use too big of words for him. And he says, what does that mean? And so he always kept me grounded, and I want to thank you for that. Last but not least, some of the ag teachers know my wife, and she's quite a character. Everybody's scared to death of her. The ag teachers from District 8 used to stop at my house and honk. They would not go in the house. I had to come out. Not Mr. Straight. Whenever he's in Blue Hill, he binds up there, he knocks on the door. Doesn't even knock on the door. He comes on in, sits in the chair, gives her a hug, and she don't know what to do. So that's Mr. Straight. Well, thanks for letting me share with you, and my congratulations, Doug. And Kent is going to say a few words, and I think has a special presentation.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations, Doug. I've got the best part of the program. I wrote a little poem a few years ago. It kind of indicates when we had retirement, I called it, or does life go on? So what does it mean to be retired? Wanting more free days, is that what we desire? Well, maybe I just don't see it that way. For tomorrow we'll reap what we've sown every day. Does a cowboy retire when he hangs up his spurs, his horse in his pasture, a cat on his lap purrs? Or does life go on and by campfire light with all kinds of stories that go on into the night? Does a ball player quit when his spikes and his glove are hung on a nail on the mantle above? Or does life go on when in his mind he did stride, with his eyes closed, he remembers, up to the plate he did glide. In the ninth of 2 outs, and the count 3-2. With the home crowd cheering, he knew what to do. The pitch came in fast, the bat gave a crack, and the bleachers exploded with fans jumping back. In the upper deck seats in deep center field, a home run, a game won, where some live to dream, yet for others it's real. Do ball players, cowboys, and teachers retire? I think not, for memories are all up for rehire. So where's the Teachers Hall of Fame? Well, it's many a student that calls him by name. It's a wave of the hand, a tip of the hat. Can I buy you a cup? A smile looking back. A laugh and a chuckle followed by, do you remember when? And that moment of time is relived again. Maybe 1 in 100 have come back through your door to thank you and tell you I'd wish I had told you before. And maybe 1 in 200 have given a hug. And that in itself give your heart a large tug. A few gestures of thanks from those who have taught. This is the payback and how teachers are bought. Though numbers themselves make some others wonder why we as teachers would even ponder. To spend a whole life, you see, the goal is the reaching, unless you have taught, so much of us goes into our teaching. Your grades are all passing, you've aced your last test, graduating with honors, you are the best. To the top of the class, summa cum laude, your years of success we wish to applaud. You have all your style, your own kind of grace. There's no substitute teacher that can take your place. Now this is where you're going to have to give me a little participation here, if you would. If we all had a glass, you've got to know that what we'll do next is priceless, pure as snow. I'd invite you all with glass in hand to raise that glass, take a stand. And in the manner of speaking, our hats are off to you're America's best, tried red, white, and blue. So here's our tribute, our final toast. Days filled with happiness, we wish you the most. And knowing that each day starts, when the sun does arise, it's sending a blessing, a kiss from the skies. A thank you for being a teacher of heart, a tribute from teachers, we're proud of your part. From today to the first day, you did start. For a lifetime of teaching, you gave us your heart. And thus we remain. We will not give concessions. You have given your life to the best of professions. You've touched countless lives, every day a new feature. No one knows what it's like unless you've been a teacher. You won't miss much as we'll miss you. Thanks for giving your best to the gold and the blue. You've more than fulfilled your years of teaching devotion. Congratulations to you on your best of promotions.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but what I remember when I came to District 8, I think it was 88 or 89, I was at Grand Island Northwest. And the students there at Northwest were really tired of getting beat around in Parley Pro. I think Shickley had won like 10 years straight. But we were lucky that year. We beat them that year, but we never beat them again after that. So that's what I remember. And Doug was kind of hard on me as a new teacher, if I remember right, coming to District 8. You know, you could tell he wore the pants. You really could. But we've been great friends over the years. He's helped me at the state level and national level. I sent him to Judge national chapter apps. What was that? 7, 8 years ago? And you know when Doug's not happy, he lets you know. He called me about every half hour complaining about these judges that were judging at the national level and that they didn't know what was going on. He said, if you're ever going to send me again, send me to some place where they're going to do it right. So I can't remember what happened. You had made the decision and they changed all your placings. So Mr. Strait was not too happy, but he's been a great friend, great colleague, and I know he's done a great job developing the youth of Shickley. So thanks for all your efforts, Doug.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. Doug has received a number of awards throughout his 33 years of teaching here. He received the honorary state and the honorary American FFA degrees, the Fillmore County Fair Service Award, State Fair Recognition Award. Jessica Bond, who was a former FFA member and the Shickley FFA chapter member, nominated Doug to receive the Frida Bailey UNL Distinguished Educator Award, and he was selected for that honor in 1999. At this time, I would like the FFA Alumni Council officers to come up here, please. Scott Schlegel, Danny Miller, Russ Kleinsmith, John Block, Tim Sherbeck. And we have a little award, and the guys want to present to Mr. Strait. We have a plaque thanking him for his many years of service, and we'd like to read that.
In appreciation for your 33 years of dedicated service to the Shickley High School FFA chapter, the Shickley FFA alumni grants Douglas Wayne Strait on his retirement, 1980 to 2013. Thank you, sir.
At this time, I'll turn the microphone back to Dylan Lounstein, our FFA president.
You want me to open it? This card is a little sign of the appreciation, respect, and affection we have for you. Beautiful. No, I mean it, seriously. I really love this card and what it says. I don't know. I've always demanded some respect, and hopefully in turn by asking for respect, our kids learn that, and they understand that. And it's just like when things started overflowing here, and I'm going, this is getting a little crazy, because we don't have enough tables, we don't have enough chairs. But, it worked out. You know why? Because people hopped right in, said, no problem here, we're going to take it care of. I'll continue to read. And it says, miss you, so great, good luck, you're wonderful. And there's a sniff here. Anyway, hope to see you soon, don't go. Thanks for helping me through school, and I will miss you, Tyler Pepe. Thanks for everything. Love you, Dylan L. Don't have too much fun. Okay, I won't do it.
fun having you as a teacher, Alex. I give card to Shields. I'm gonna read the front of this card again. This card is a sign of the appreciation, respect, and affection we have for you. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I told everybody we'd be done at 8:30, but I think we went over just a little bit. I think it's pretty much all been said. We came up with the American degrees. I've always been wanting to put a list together. Jeremy, were you in the list? Jeremy, you stand up because Jeremy also received his American degree. Always worried me anytime you start putting a list together. You better be really, well, no. What I'm getting at is I've forgotten myself. And I think we've all forgotten before. And Jeremy, congratulations on that. I got to tell a couple of stories because if I don't tell a story, then it won't feel right. Because I do tell a few stories in class. Those that are normally applicable to the subject in which we're covering. I think. But I think the atmosphere in my classroom, going clear back to 1980, was favorably, don't smile, Corey. It was fun. You know, fun environment, good place to learn, get involved, answer some questions. Oh, I'm wrong, that's okay. We'll work on it some more. And I've always been that way, I think. I wasn't a great student by any means. Quit it. But what I'm getting at is school was tough for me. And I think with that relationship, as I became a teacher, you know, it was important for me to help kids out that needed that little extra help. Because that was all about me. And that's the type of person that I was. And I'm not the type of person that needs all the glory and fanfare. And I tell the kids that. I mean, going clear back to the early, I said, you just do the best you can. Of course, that came from our home. Do the best you can. That's all we ask. And I think that's very important today for us to know and understand and remember. As we get involved in anything that we do or try to achieve, is we're not always going to win. So do the best we can to make ourselves feel some self-worth, that we might want to come back and try again from that perspective. I need to back up and thank my family for being here tonight. And Kent tried to make me cry earlier, and I didn't do so well. But our grandson Jack is here. Well, I got to thank Janice first, Connie, Cody. I mean, they put up with a lot from me. I mean, I was gone a lot, involved in a lot of different activities, and the nice thing about it is a lot of them they did come along with. And that was always kind of neat. I've always kind of missed those years and those opportunities when the kids were in school to do the different activities that my other kids went to. So thank you, Janae. Thank you, Conley. Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Emily, for becoming part of our family. We love you. And Jackson. There he is. He's my dog. I thank my mom for attending tonight. She flew back from Florida. I called her and said, Mom, you really don't need to know Dale. So, thank you for being here, Mom. My brother Don, his wife Tammy, and Justin and Jordan, thank you much for attending and all the support that you've given us over the years. Special shout out Don again for providing the meat this evening. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. You know, it's pretty good when you can call your brother and say, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it. So that's kind of nice to have. Thank you much for sharing. Janice's dad, Harlan, who's only missed one FFA banquet. Were you sick? I don't remember either. They're kind of in a jumble a little bit. But again, I appreciate all your support. Candace, Janice's sister, Garrett's somewhere around here. Kara, thank you for attending. Enjoyed all the banquets of yours that we attended. Ryan, Rodney, and Cindy, I don't think you've missed it. You missed one, too. So we got a pretty good track record. Thanks to all my family. I think family, yes, is very, very important. You know what? Ever since I started I gotta be quiet. I don't have to quit. This is awesome. Anyway. But I gotta say this, you know, when I first started here in Shickley in 1980, and I told some folks earlier, I kind of came around and visited with a lot of you earlier on. And they said, well, where'd you live when you first came to town? And, well, after I accepted the job, I came down and we're going to find a place for me to live. And Dora Jane kept books at that time. And Dora Jane Winterstein was in charge of taking me around to show me some of those opportunities where you could live. So we went here, and then we went there, and then we went here, and then we went there, and kind of to no avail. Anybody here remember the schoolhouse the school had down on the southeast part of town? Okay, never mind. But anyway, that was one choice. But then, you know, sweet Dora Jane, bless her heart, she goes, Doug, I've got one more chance if you'd like to consider it. But right up here on the hill, Beth Johnson resided there and went to church with Beth. And Dora Jane says, Beth Johnson might be interested in renting her basement. All right, pretty nice house. Looks like it'll be a good fit. So I said, yeah, we'll give it a try. She goes, no. And bless, and she was good for me, and I was good for her. But I just got to tell you this. It's kind of going to... But when I walked in, she says, don't plan on eating any meals here. Don't plan on using my washing machine. And don't plan on me doing your laundry for you. Okay? So that's kind of the way it started. And, you know, I guess, you know, Beth was kind of like me, a little rough on the outside until you finally got to know her. Because within a week, she's going, Doug, you want to come up and eat some popcorn or watch a movie? I'm going, all right, I can do that. You know, she had lost her husband a little over a year before that, and I think it was a good fit for me and for her. She had someone to talk to. She may be part of her family. You know, and that's kind of that family atmosphere that we have here in Shickley. And I've always appreciated that. You know, there's just not a lot of communities that can make that statement, that we care for each other and help each other in any way we can. And I guess as I reflect back on that first year where I felt like I didn't know nothing, I didn't feel like I knew too much at all. Hopefully I didn't come off that way too bad, those of you that had me in my first years here. I did make a few phone calls to the prior ag teacher going, how in the heck do you do that? You know, one of them deals, you guys ever felt like that when you started teaching? How do we do that? I don't know, we'll explain it. So it's always nice to have some contacts and connections to help you out in the long run. But what I'm really trying to drive at is we go back to those years before I met, well, she left. No, she's over there chasing me. Anyway, those kids and and I call them my kids, and I'm sorry if you don't like that, but they've been my kids. They've been like family to me. And I think anybody that's been a teacher with any group of kids, no matter who the kids are, I don't care what they did, how they did it, whatever the case, they were my kids. They were an extension, and they were part of our FFA family. And I tried the best that I could to make everybody, hey, come join us. We do some good things. Food always helped too. But I like to cook. And thanks tonight for those people that jumped up and helped when I thought the food was going to be really, really short. So, who all served? Stand up because my brain doesn't work quite as well. Darlene Mick, Marlene, thank you. Danny, Scott, Who else to forget? Russ? Did I forget anybody else? Joe Campbell. Thank you very much. And it's just little things like that. Mr. Jorgensen, thank you much for hopping up and helping get tables and chairs. I appreciate that in our administrators. I think it's really important. Thank you. And as I said before, we've got to quit. But anyway, as I said before, I didn't get into this business for the glory. I got in this business to help kids and be part of their opportunities and developing their career opportunities for them in the long run. And it's been a lot of fun. And these guys sitting over here and a couple over here and back here have made that ride really great, really special. So I thank you all for that. Yeah, I'm kind of rough and gruff, but I cry too. And I do. So I think that's important. And I've got to mention he's been my best friend since my freshman year in college, Bob Elwell. Thanks, Bob. It was a great surprise. Okay, that's another story. But anyway, yes. But much appreciated in your attendance. I would truly mean it. And, you know, the list can go on and on. I think Janice and Stan did a great job in filling you in on the great things that I've been a part of. Yeah, maybe I had a little direction in it, but it was really you kids that made all those things happen. And the great support that your parents provide to the program and to your children when they're in your home. Gave me that opportunity to work with them in a way I can help them in any way I can and help them better themselves for the future as well. So I got to tell this story and then I'm done. Well, I guess it really relates. You know, here's the whole thing. I remember when Keith Berg got ready to retire. Remember Keith? Where are you, Keith? Oh, yeah. Keith remembers when he's going to retire. And I want to be the first one to ask him, did I say this last year? I might have, but I'll say it again. Are you going to move home now? That's what I asked him. He goes, well, no, not today anyway. So I had to be the first to ask her, right, Keith? And I did. So anyway. So am I going to move home now? No. We're going to stay in Shickley. We've got a nice place out north of town. I'm sorry, I won't be a sub. Well, that was bad. I should have thought about that one first. But anyway, I'm going to further my career opportunities. And when I saw the 55 show up, not related to the speed limit, but when I was that age, and then somebody over here tonight said, oh, you can't be 55, you look too young. I'm going, oh, yeah. Maybe that's good because now I can get another job. And that's the main reason as I look back 4 or 5 years in Janice. Yeah, I talked to her about it. You can ask her. And so it's been in the plan. It's been in the works. It isn't something that I just woke up one morning and went, bing, done. No. Because I want to be young enough to pursue another opportunity. So I'm not leaving the community. I'm not leaving you as individuals. I'm not leaving you students, because you'll all be right here in my heart. I know I can't think of anything else to say. Thanks again for a wonderful surprise. Thank you, Stan and Janice, for putting together a great program. And thank you, students. Dylan, good luck at state with your speech. Megan, good luck at state with your speech. I mean, there's a lot of, I could sit here and I'm not going to, but I just love to. I appreciate everybody's understanding and help and non-babblings. Thanks again for this evening's